Hi guys! So in this video we are going to talk about what Mars is in astrology. So Mars in astrology is a warrior. It is the god of war, in fact. He's very tough. He is definitely going to compete with you if he feels for any reason that he is lacking or losing. He's very aggressive, very sexually driven. Amazing. So this is the placement where you're going to find your hidden aspects of your anger, the hidden aspects of what drives you, how aggressive you are, and your passions, stuff like that. So if you can think of the color red and you can associate it with certain characteristics, this is probably Mars. So today we are going to talk about the signs through the planet Mars. And just to let you guys know, Venus is going to have a lot to do with sex as well. The difference between Venus and Mars as far as sex is that Venus is very sensual, whereas Mars is a lot more, I don't want to say animalistic, but more the raw side of humanity, more just the actual act of sex. Oh, and I want to start doing this thing because I want to be professional. You guys like this video by the end? Just click here. Right here somewhere, yeah. Just click there and this will take you straight to my blog where you guys can look more into astrology or get a tarot reading or whatever you'd like to do. Alright, so let's go through the signs and see what we have for you guys. If your Mars sign is in Aries, then this makes you usually very competitive, very combative. This is a person who really can't stand for there to be an elephant in the room, and what I mean by that is if something feels like it has slighted them or has really rubbed them the wrong way, they're not going to be the one to be passive aggressive. They're not going to be the one to just push it off. They're not going to act like it didn't happen. They're not going to just immediately forgive and forget. This is not Aries Mars. No. This is someone who is going to confront it directly and deal with it right then and there. They just can't stand it. They're very sexual beings. They're very sexually driven. Not to say that they can't control themselves or anything, because they definitely can. It's just that they do feel impulsive and they do feel driven by the activity itself. If your Mars is in Taurus, then you are probably quite passive aggressive. If you're not passive aggressive, then you're probably just laid back. If you don't feel yourself getting angry very often, that's, it's not disingenuous to say that. Taurus Mars can definitely be one who just lets it roll off their back. They're not going to fight with you. They're not going to argue with you. They don't really care. They just feel no need for it. They do enjoy sex, and they do enjoy dominating, actually. Although this is a Venus sign, when you pair it with Mars, what seems to happen is that this person will become, it's more like BDSM kind of activity is how I see it, because Taurus is very sensual, but when you pair it with the physical activity and the domination that Taurus has with the physical activity, like I said, with what Mars has, you get things like wanting to kind of dominate other people. You can get dominatrix, you can get, that kind of 50 Shades of Grey. That's not for everyone, obviously. So if your Mars is in Gemini, you can have thoughts that are like, I forgive you, I hate you. I forgive you, I hate you. It's kind of like, one minute you act like you're over something, and then the next minute you're actually not sure if you are or not. Like, you'll come back for more. You'll talk it out. You'll get over it. You'll walk away. You'll have a joke. And then later on, you'll come back at a totally random point in time and act like none of that even happened and that you never stopped having the conversation and you just dig right in again. It is just sometimes a bit confusing for other people when they're feeling like everything has kind of been settled, and then, unexpectedly, here comes Gemini Mars again, wanting to hash it out about the same thing they've already talked about, because they're indecisive. And this is something that happens as they grow too. They learn to just finally let it go and not to dissect it too much, because then they realize that they've just chopped it all into little tiny pieces and they can't make sense of it anymore. But this does come with growth for sure. These guys, anytime there's a Gemini present, it's always about the charm, it's always about the schmooze, the communication, the mental. These are really fun people. They do it for the laughs, they do it for the jokes. So usually it's going to be more like a class clown, but internally they are feeling slightly competitive, but they may not admit it. If your Mars is in Cancer, then this makes you someone who may actually cry when you're angry. You might be the type of person who kind of seems to need to pick at things. A wound may be healing, but then you decide that it's not healed enough for your liking, so you have to dig it open again and do some further investigating in the wound to make sure that, you know, there's no tiny pieces that need to be exploited. What I mean is, if there's any elephants in the room, they want to know what it is. They want to make sure that it's not about them, because Cancer is always the type of sign that needs to protect itself. When these two things are paired together, then Cancer is almost emotional about their aggressive feelings. They really internalize this at a subconscious level. They don't often realize that they do have anger built up inside of them. They don't acknowledge it because they don't naturally seem to just get angry. They get emotional. And so as Cancer Mars grows, they really have to learn how to let out this energy and this aggressive side of themselves. If your Mars is in Leo, you are I always see this as like a really sassy sign. So if this is someone that you're like arguing with and their Mars is in Leo, this is somebody who's just gonna make an attitude like, I can't even do it. It's happening inside my head so well. But I can't replicate it in real life the way that I really, really want to express. I just see them like, oh no honey, you know, that kind of attitude. Like, they're mad about it. Let me tell you something. They're very confident people. These people are, you know, they're confident in themselves. They don't need your validation. They don't need anyone to tell them any differently. They believe in themselves. They know what they're talking about. You're not going to argue them down. They know. However, if they are wrong and later they realize that, they're the big lion hearts who are going to come back and be like, you know what? I'm sorry. And it's kind of like, it's kind of the attitude that you'll get with it too. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't realize, you know, I made a mistake. There's just a little bit of pride in this sign. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually, it is a healthy way for a person to show their own confidence and their own value in themselves. If your Mars sign is in Virgo, you are someone who is extremely passive aggressive. You really, really don't like to argue with people, just like Taurus. However, you might be the one who, you know, you might tell your friends about it, that you're irritated, that, you know, you're having this issue, but when it comes to the person that you're having the issue with, you may be a little hesitant because you just see the kind of knockdown drag out, because it's like Virgo Mars has very intense and colorful feelings. They're very vibrant. It's like they fully feel the range of motion, because this is earth paired with fire. So it's like a little volcano. And this is the same with Taurus and Capricorn. But the thing is about Taurus is that it's probably not really going to explode. It's just going to be a dormant volcano. Whereas Virgo is wanting to erupt. And they know that eruption can come, but they just really don't want it to feel provoked or like exploited. Because of that Mercury there, they can be very, very cutting. This sign has a tendency to be extremely sexual in nature. They may not be as forward about it. They may not talk about it as much as some of the other signs, but this one is, it's one that is definitely, well, I guess there's two sides to this one. It's either definitely very sexually oriented, or it's kind of a prude. Sorry. If your Mars is in Libra, you are going to be the one that avoids the fight. You're going to be the one that is always kind of running from it. You don't want it. But it's like, even if it doesn't even have to do with you, it's almost like you're always present there. You probably don't know why. You're like, what? Everything's been fine, and here I am. I'm here, and then all hell breaks loose. What the? And perhaps this is just because you are the one that can kind of hold it down and be like, you know what, guys, this is stupid. I'm just gonna let you know that right now. I'm not trying to be mean. I love you all, but this is stupid. You guys are fighting about nothing, and I just really don't see the point in it. Can we just kiss and make up now? They're like, ugh. Life could be so pleasurable, life could be so nice, life could be so fun, it could be so chill, and then everyone is just around me just being chaotic, and I don't like it. Stop it. They're just here to make everything pleasant and beautiful. If your Mars sign is in Scorpio, oh boy, you can be a very intense one. This is someone who is going to, you know, threaten your life if you piss them off. They're obviously not going to really kill you. Well, I don't know, maybe a few of them might. They come with this intensity, this very intense vibe, and when you pair it with Mars, then we have death and destruction. Now, those are just the shadowy side. However, they do have good qualities, you know, the yin and the yang. So I would say for Mars, it's being, you know, it can be very fun. It can be very optimistic. It can be just someone that you want to hang out with, you want to learn from. Or you have Pluto present, you learn a lot from them too, but in a totally different way, because they're going to understand information that Aries just doesn't care about, and vice versa. But when they are paired together, this could mean that someone is incredibly intoxicating. They're always feeling as well, and they're feeling at a very deep level. And it's not just them that they're feeling for, it is everyone around them. They're very keen on their environment. They know what's going on around them, but they may not be aware that they are picking those things up. This sign is one who is going to be very lustful. Someone who may be into some pretty kinky, pretty wild stuff. If your Mars sign is in Sagittarius like mine, you can be very brash, you can be very rude, you can be very loud. You can be very honest to a point. You may get a lot of crap for that. You may get a lot of attitude back. I think that this sign can also be a little bit naive sometimes. I know that I have been. And honestly, I'm not ashamed of it, because I know that it comes from a place of loving people, you know, really accepting people. But at the same time, I personally have expected myself from others, and that's always going to lead you to disappointment, I think. They're always looking for an adventure. We really like to go on trips. We like to, you know, go hiking. They have a really long fuse when it comes to the anger, but they also kind of have like a really big bomb when it finally goes off, and it can be kind of scary because they don't hold back. It can be ugly. They slice with deadly word weapons. They don't realize how overly honest it can come off at times, and it's definitely something that I am working on. Mars in Sagittarius is the best. If your Mars is in Capricorn, then my dear, you are very competitive. You're very competitive. You are going to win by any means possible. If someone is trying to compete with you, they better watch out, girl. They better watch out, because you're going to eat them for breakfast. When it comes to sex food, you kind of need the power, the control in this situation. You don't really like to be dominated or anything like that until you discover that you actually might. And then this may take you for a loop, and you may not know how you feel about it, but you're gonna think about it for a long time and try and decide, but you're not gonna tell anyone, are you? If your Mars is in Aquarius, then you are someone who is you're very curious. If you're Cancer,